Myself, I got rejected from a program called GitHub Campus Expert. 1 year later, I became a campus expert, and now I manage the entire same program.
You did not let your college affect your goals.
I'm okay having a lower GPA of 7.5, but then I'll put my full focus in hackathons and communities. Tags are important. What you see is a Starbucks in my hand in another country, but travel for work is not at all same as travel for vacation.
How to find your interest?
Instead of going to classes and then coming home doing homework, trying hackathons a little bit, listening to a lot of Twitter spaces, lot of code-related Twitter spaces, and checking out resume reviews and all of that stuff, which is not there as part of my curriculum. Personal brand, regardless, is important. I said personal brand, not a personal social media channel.
हमने first time podcast करी थी 2 साल पहले.
Yeah.
Then we met at Hackon last year. And आज हम मिल रहे हैं दोबारा. I know about you. तो start करने से पहले can you give a short intro about yourself to the audience?
Sure. Hi everyone, my name is Ashwin Kumar Uppala. Right now I'm an associate program manager at GitHub, and I love open source, I love communities, I love hackathons. I think I started my journey in hackathons, met Sanskar. Virtually, we did a podcast 2 years ago. 2 years? 2 years. And 2 years. So now I just graduated and I'm super happy working at my favorite place, making an impact to the student communities and open source.
Bro, the thing that stands out about you to me personally is कि you did not let your college affect your goals. You kind of, I think, made your own path. Because यार 2 साल पहले there was not much people doing MLH hackathons. उस समय you were doing them and winning them.
Yeah, but there's a lot of risk analysis there. Yes, I started probably like moonlighting of doing hackathons at night when I did not have classes. But when I found like this is something I could do and something I could create my career, I have no idea if it would work or not. But it is showing results much better than me following DSA part. I used to do DSA. But I took a risk analysis there like, if I, instead of having a GPA of 8 or 9, I'm okay having a lower GPA of 7.5, but then I'll put my full focus in hackathons and communities. And if it works, great. If it does not work, there's a framework called ABZ plan. Have you heard about it? Plan A is everything goes right according to you, and the highest thing that you will get. Plan B is what if this does not work? Something else, it might be good, it might be better, but it is an option. Campus placement. If hackathon did not work, do I have another plan? Yes, I have 7.5 GPA, and campus placement is always an option. And then plan Z is everything goes bananas, and what will you do then? Everything is like nothing. What will you do to even survive and mitigate the problems? Rather than, let's try this. Or, I'm very inspired by Sanskar Bhaiya. Tomorrow I'll start doing podcasts. No, that's not the way to do it, right? Like that's like our right dream. So that's what I did. I did some risk analysis and I thought, yes, let's try this out. And yeah, I was right. It just worked out good. But if it hadn't, I had other plans too.
Did you know that hackathon was your thing and it will work out for you?
After a lot of tries, I had to try a lot of things, fail at so many things to eventually find hackathon, that too even the right way. If I had been introduced hackathon, then in my college, hackathons have a different definition. So I had like, this is not what hackathon should be. So I tried DSA, I tried web development, I tried graphic designing and animation and so many things in tech and outside tech. And then I did hackathon and I like the people, I like the culture, I like the rewards. So yes. So I was not born like with like, I want to do hackathon. If you are like someone exploring, I did a lot of exploration, hit and trial.
But how do you do that? How do you explore things? Because sometimes you can get caught up in these debates of CP versus open source versus, going into non-code contributions, totally different things. So how to manage and sort of, ठीक है कि हाँ भाई streamline करते हैं चीज़ें, मैं पहले ये करूँगा, then this. How to find your interest basically.
Yeah, whenever I hear verses, it's immediately like you want to avoid A to do B. Okay. It simply says like just put some little bit of effort is required. Right now, 2023, you are making everything so accessible. Okay, you are bringing guests and all that stuff, and we are bringing that knowledge. It's accessible, but not supposed to be easy. That's the difference. As a student, yes, I want to look at the shortcut path, CPU versus DSS, so I can pick one, put more time there. Try both, try both. It's okay to fail. A lot of the audience that I see is like, whenever someone like asks verses, don't ask verses even to yourself. Just try, explore them, pick one, you go all in, and then you figure out whether it is for you or not. It's far better than spending a lot of time picking which one is better. So yeah, and honestly, on the roadmap, one of the best advice I was given when I was asking this question, like I would go to mentors and I'm like, Sanskar bhaiya, what should I do next? Should I create a new podcast, or should I try graphic design? Like, give me some advice. Instead of asking that question, the right question I should ask is, hey Sanskar, what did you do when you were in my age or my place that made you so different? So that way, I get perspective. I put my consciousness in your perspective, that this is what Sanskar did. He has different struggles and different privilege, and these are the different things he did, rather than asking for myself, right? I have a set of privilege and struggles that you don't know, and if I ask advice from you, it will be very different. And so many times people ask me this question, like, how can I get into open source? Which is fine, like, how did you do this? How can I become like you? How can I become like a good community manager or a leader and stuff? And if I give them advice, I'm giving from my experience. But they will take it assuming that I know them, right? So asking the right question, like learning how did their journey go, is the right way to ask questions, rather than, what should I do next, rather than what did you do next after this? So that is much more helpful than seeking roadmaps.
Do you think we give too much importance to tags? It can be a company tag, or nowadays there are these student programs.
It depends. A lot of time tags are important. It can serve as a stepping stone for you to get recognized. Being an ambassador of a program or having done something, they are not bad. Money and title matters, especially if you are coming from a struggling community, but that should not be your end goal. And so often tags like limit how much you can grow. So often they just stop your growth. A lot of leaders that I've seen that have grown beyond tags. Myself, I got rejected from a program called GitHub Campus Expert. 1 year later, after doing, I think, that podcast and a lot of things, I became a campus expert, and now I manage this entire same program. Like, I'm on the other side, right? And a lot of leaders that I've seen who have been through this similar journey is they want to solve the problems that because of which that tag was formed. If you are creating a podcast channel right now, you are solving a problem. Podcast is just a way to communicate that, right? But for me, if you want to create for the sake of podcast, that is where you just stop. So there's not much room for growth here. So tags are great. Tags are important for stepping stone. You should always chase for them, but let's look for the underlying problem that is the meaning, the definition behind that tag. So if you are working at a company, yes, what kind of things are you working at? What's the impact there? If you are a lead of some program, great, use it in your resume and stuff. But what's next? You are a lead now. Why was that program formed? You want to create more leaders or move forward? A lot of people don't look after that, so you want to keep that in mind.
That's a very interesting point, that you failed GitHub Campus Expert, and the next year you cleared that, and now you're on the other side, on the managing side of things. So yeah, in that 1 year, what did you do differently? Ya fir, what did you sort of learn about yourself, about the community, which helped you go from getting rejected to being on the managing side of things?
Yeah, there's a lot of, your work won't speak for yourself attitude here. Like, everyone is making a change, but if you talk about it, not only you find more people who can relate to it, but it also adds a lot of visibility that, oh, I know Ashwin is trying to solve this problem, and next time when I need him, I'll keep him in mind. So I made sure that when I was building my community, I made sure that I talk about it with the people that I meet in meetups or conferences, or even via events that we do. I made sure that, I became the first probably or the only campus expert from my state, Telangana, Hyderabad. But I was slightly disappointed because why am I the only one? I learned about hackathons, I learned about remote job during pandemic. And when I came back, I was literally the only one in my college, which is great. Like, okay, I got the thing I wanted. Like, yes, money, fame, what do you want? You got everything. I can always stay silent. But putting myself in first year place, I was so desperate for good mentors and opportunities. So I said, I don't want to be the only one in my community. I want to create more leaders. Now, this is my thought. I'm telling you this. This is what I did with everyone else. I told them this is what I want to do, and this is what I plan to do. And that helped, keep a lot of my networks in mind that this is what Ashwin is trying to build. And that combined with me being at the right place at the right time, or my idea being with those people, helped me stand out when someone needed me. I started as an Octane, like it's one of the GitHub Octaneships program, internship alternative program with GitHub. And I started as an Octane with a documentation because the people people knew me, the team knew me, I was a campus expert, and with this, I've made sure that I'm sharing what my vision is for community. So I started as an Octane, and then I took up more stuff and then ended up managing and building that program. And then the campus experts. In that entire process, I made sure that I am speaking out loud my intentions are and speaking about my work.
This is a very good point you mentioned. When students think that they have to create content or they have to share their learnings, they think of it as a full-time job. Here I have to make YouTube videos, I have to make blogs, I have to tweet 5 times a day, 6 times a day. But actually, what does a recruiter or a manager look for in somebody's profile? Like, what is that you're looking for? Is it the volume of content, the reach, the followers, or is it something else?
I think it depends on role so much. You can do an entire podcast on how recruitment works. But personal brand, regardless, is important. I said personal brand, not a personal social media channel or a YouTube channel. Those are two different things. Personal brand is important. How people know you or remember you. If I see Sanskar anytime, the first thing I'll remember is his personal brand, which is associated with his podcast, not YouTube channel. So I remember Sanskar for asking really hard, difficult questions and having very specific podcasts. So I remember that's the personal brand you got to build. It takes a lot of time, but it's important that you have one. Now, you have already created podcasts on that, how to build a personal brand or what you can do, YouTube, blog, whatever, stepping stone. But create a personal brand, that is important. And how people associate you with that is important. And then followed by what role you want. Tech, non-tech, SD, DevRel, different requirements there. But a personal brand will help you highlight where you stand.
We guide young students who are in their first, second year of college to share content on Twitter, XYZ platform, right? But when they come on these platforms, it's natural they will also look at others' content. They will learn from that content, right? When we have people in the community who are recognized people posting things about their travelings, posting things about going to meetups, conferences, week in, week out. So if someone's in their first year, they will think, "Acha, ha, so being a DevRel means doing this thing." So he'll want to become a DevRel for that particular reason. Now, first question, is that right? Second question, is DevRel that only?
It's not right, and that's not DevRel. He could just stop talking here. When you post something, assuming you're in your college, you're still in your college, and you post something, you want a hackathon. What will you post? The award ceremony, the prize, or the 16 hours of hard work you spent? You will post the outcome, the result. Yeah, the same psychology. If I post something on Instagram, which is like my personal life, I will post a photo of me having coffee in some other state or another place. I wouldn't spend the 16 hours I spend researching for the talk I am coming next or the work that I'm doing at the same time, right? It takes time to learn that, especially if you're new to social media or that platform. But yes, keep in mind imposter syndrome, keep in mind tutorial hell on all of this. And not just DevRel, because DevRel is pretty front-facing. There's a lot of travel and outreach involved. You will see them more often than other roles, but it goes for everyone else. So even if a SDE is posting a photo of an office or in some other country or an HQ, just appreciate that. It's easy for our minds to put ourselves in that place. So it takes a bit of time to get over it. And in my best suggestion, things that I did for myself helped was unfollowing the people who were not adding value to my feed. Nothing against them. Good. Please go ahead and follow your rewards. But if you're not adding value to my feed, LinkedIn is a place I want to learn. Let's follow you somewhere else. Instagram, totally cool, but I'll unfollow you or I'll just not connect with you on LinkedIn. If I'm adding value to you, I will connect. But yeah, it's very, for me, it's agnostic to like the platform and making sure that whenever I open LinkedIn or platforms like this, I'm learning rather than seeing the result.
Acha, so I see you're traveling a lot lately. Why?
Oh, a lot of folks think that I travel for work or part of my job. I'm a program manager here, okay? So I manage a program and that not necessarily always requires traveling. A lot of my travel sometimes is just to support community events and speaking at conferences. Next week I'm speaking at Kubecon, which I did last year too. And it's not related to work. They are funding my trip. And I'm talking about WebAssembly, which is not close to Campus Expert at all. And I told you it's going to be accessible, all of these opportunities, but it's not easy. It takes effort. I have to manage a lot of stuff. Yes, I have to balance work in the day and prepare my talk at the night. What you see is a Starbucks in my hand in another country, which is good, which is great. It's good motivation, but it only lasts and then you swipe and there's another motivation next. So it took me time to build that pattern that I want to spend time in communities, even though my work is different. So tomorrow, if I'm an SD or another thing, if I'm not a DevRel, even if I'm not directly involved with my community as part of my job, I try to stay active, judging hackathons, speaking at hackathons, supporting them as a sponsor, or maybe I'll organize my own hackathon pretty damn soon. But a lot of my travel, not necessarily for work, and it's important to note that travel for work is not at all same as travel for vacation. Right. You do have to work, you have to balance time, expenses, and it is definitely rewarding, but it can be equally exhaustive. So it depends on person's capabilities too. One thing that I've realized is sometimes I like balance, so I'll go to a co-working space, work from there, and then come home and forget about work. Sometimes remote work works fine. Just have breakfast and work in your desk and then come back. But it's not for everyone, and it's okay if you're not able to travel. You can always, there are other opportunities than work that you can travel on. You just have to put an effort and find them.
How was the experience of speaking at Kubecon?
It's great. I love professional conferences because they add a lot of value. Apart from speaking, there's a lot of networks, and the way the conference is structured, there's a good mix of beginners or students. I went there last year as a student, and no idea about cloud native. Went to everyone and shamelessly asked, how can I learn? And I love that. People are super welcoming. And this year I have some expertise and some idea about what I'm talking about, and I'll see more students, and I can talk to them. And this is a huge conference. So I really like speaking at conferences where I'm able to add value, at the same time send this personal brand that you can also be like this. I'm not, I don't want to like be exclusive and be, I want to be approachable, accessible via my work. Like, you can like call me or block a calendar, which is, I appreciate that, but I want to be here also like, hey, look, I'm from a tier 3 college and I was not even in CS, electronics. And I can do that. You can do it too. Yes, you need effort. So that is one another goal that I try to set, that if I am here, let's learn everything about Kubecon and everything that conference attendees and speakers do. But apart from that, trying to spread that I can do this, you can do it too. So I'll be writing a blog on my recap of Kubecon and how you can do it. So see if you can read that. It's going to be big, it's going to be boring, but you have to make that effort if you want to do it. And yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I was reading your tweets the other day. Then this tweet popped up wherein you mentioned about your JEE advanced experience. And then you went to that same college as a speaker.
Yeah.
You mentioned a term, bold career calls, in that tweet of yours. What were those calls? What are they referring?
Yeah, I've always been the front bencher, class representative, teacher's person. I like being that. And I still am. I love it. I like it. Nothing wrong with that. But it's just to follow very straightforward A to B rules, which is nothing wrong with that either. But when I found out going a little beyond or little outside my comfort zone or little outside the rules, by rules I mean like, instead of going to classes and then coming home, doing homework, trying hackathons a little bit, listening to a lot of Twitter spaces, a lot of code-related Twitter spaces, and checking out resume reviews and all of that stuff, which is not there as part of my curriculum, is helping me. And for someone who has never done that, it's a very bold career call for me. Like, I always love maintaining a high GPA. And from that, setting a benchmark of 7.5 or 8 or something like that is very bold for me. Like, this is not something I prepared for or I even thought I would do. Like, I spent 2 years to get into IIT and GE means, but in the back of my mind, I just wanted to have a good job and I wanted to work with really good, smart, brilliant people so I can learn from them. People better than me. That's what. I wanted to be the dumbest person in the room. And when I realized I'm getting that, but not via my everyday academics, that's when I had to make a call like, can I bring this down a little? Can I readjust my goal of not having 9 GPA and put more time here? Obviously, it was not a call I made out of my own. I listened to other mentors. What did they do in their college? And then I realized, yes, this is something I can also do. There are some mentors who have dropped out of college. This is not something I can do, right? So I listen to a lot of different mentors and say yes and no to very specific things. I don't blindly follow them. I respect them a lot, but there's so much I can do. So one of the mentors, a few mentors took this call and I was like, yes, I can do this too. And it looks It's definitely a risk, and that's how I made that bold call, and a lot of bold calls after that. Right now, I recently, left a couple of programs, or I used to be a MLH coach. Now I left that program because now I am already working at GitHub and I'm already supporting them. I want new coaches. I will learn everything that I could from that program. Absolutely love the community. I'm still in touch with them. But what I'm trying to say is, after some time, I have to let go of some responsibilities so I can grow. Otherwise, I will not.
Awesome. Thank you so much, buddy, for joining me here, taking out the time. I loved it, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, and see you soon.